Hey guys, welcome to Massive Iron Live. Welcome to Friday. Hope you guys are doing well. Thank you for joining me. It is Friday, August 7th. We're headed into fall really quickly here. Before I get into things, I'm here every Friday at 11 a.m. Eastern answering your questions. I'm here to help. Don't hesitate. Post up your questions, diet, training, nutrition, supplementation, off topic, whatever you have. I'm here to help. And don't feel like a question has been asked a million times before. Doesn't matter. We are going to answer it. So before we get started, a couple things. If your questions don't go through, try rewording them. It's not me throttling you or limiting you or whatever. Sometimes if you use a naughty word, right, YouTube will filter you. YouTube has its own set of filters. Sometimes if your question is too long, YouTube will filter that or screen that as well. Harut said, I'm just going to jump really. What's the best fitness Q&A on the internet? Well, my mom thinks this is, I'll just kind of leave that out there. But anyway, I hope you guys had a really good week. I've been back at training full speed, 3 solid weeks. Yesterday, I did shoulders. We'll do a little pec jiggle. I did 200 by 5 on the seated overhead press 3 weeks back. I took about 6 weeks off to finish my book. Not on purpose, but I was just working a lot. So doing pretty good. I'm happy to see 200 by 5 on the seated pin press and moved really easily. I'm going to try to get that up to 225 by 5 and maybe just hang around there a little bit, see what happens. I don't really have a lot of specific strength standards or things I'm trying to accomplish right now. I just kind of I'll be 57 this year. I'm just kind of holding my strength steady, enjoying training, not putting a lot of pressure on myself. With that said, I'm only a few years away from the over 60 world records, if you can believe. Am I going to be 6? Yeah, I can't even hardly believe it. But there are some over 60 powerlifting records that exist, and they're within reason. So I'm not going to get ahead of myself. But if I'm kind of cruising towards 60, and I got a chance to go get the all-time world record, I'm not going to go for a federation record, but if I go for an all-time world record, I might just do that. So what are you guys doing? How's your training going? What program are you using right now? How are things going? What bench press program? How you feel about your bench press? Let's talk about some things, man. I'm here to help. So if you're frustrated with anything, diet, nutrition, training, whatever, let me know. If you're excited about the new Alien movie, let me know. If you think it's going to stink, let me know. I'm super excited, but I can't get ahead of myself because this weekend's my wife's birthday. So everything this weekend is all about my wife. Wish me luck. I want to make sure I do the right thing. So they're out of purple monsters today. And we're going with the Ultra Strawberry Cream. No, Dreams. We're going with Strawberry Dreams. I don't often dream of strawberries. I don't know about you guys, but this is all right. All right. Let's dive into things. First off, the fall is coming. Bulking season is coming. If you guys need help, need coaching, I want you to head over to my website, Super Living Today, superlivingtoday.com. Check out the coaching tab, and I would love to help. Oh, my goodness, Fat Chick in a Barn is here. The new Alien movie has the credentials to be good. I'm pretty hesitant anymore. Yeah, same with me. I mean, I don't want to be let down. I don't want to get too invested, right? It feels like more of the original movies, but you never know what you're going to get when you show up, right? It's just the modern world. So let's dive into things. Big Joe B. Good morning, Team Massive. Happy Friday. Hope you're doing well. Joe's a client of mine. Yvonne from Team Massive. You guys can go over to Team Massive Iron and join up if you want to join my private community. Yvonne, how's it going? Harris from Team Massive. Hi, Team Massive. Happy weekend. Same to you. And we go right in with the tough one. Your Mount Rushmore bodybuilders. Now, before I say mine, I want you to start typing yours in here. What's your Mount Rushmore bodybuilding? And if you are here after the live has started, feel free to drop it into the commentos, right? The comments. That's my Spanglish for this morning, right? I took 3 years of Spanish in high school, and my Spanish sucks. So there you have it. Your Mount Rushmore bodybuilders. Well, obviously you have to put Arnold up there. Outside of the fact that he ticked a lot of people off recently, I don't get into the whole political thing and all that kind of stuff. But Arnold has to be up there. Without Arnold, I don't even know if we'd have bodybuilding, if anybody would care, if it would have fizzled out, right? So Arnold Schwarzenegger needs to be up there. Now, after Arnold, you had, guys like during Arnold's age, you had a lot of the classic bodybuilders. Before Arnold, you had a lot of the classics. You had Steve Reeves, you had Reg Park. You only get 4, right? So we need one of these classic lifters. I'm going to have to go with Steve just because he was a movie star. He was a prominent figure. So we got Steve and we got Arnold. I think we've covered, the pre-modern era. But now we only have room for 2 more at the top. And you have guys like Ronnie and Lee Haney and Dorian and Phil Heath. And you have all kinds of interesting people vying for position. Ronnie's got to be up there. Ronnie is just like larger than life. You know what I'm saying? So Ronnie has to be up there. Who would we put fourth, right? Who would we put fourth? Would we put a woman? I'm just saying. I mean, I don't want to sound like that, but do we put a woman? Do we put somebody like Corey Everson, Rachel McClish? They were big names back in the day. I don't know. That 4 spot's a tough one. You got Reeves, you got Arnold, you got Ronnie. Who else would you add? I'm going to leave this one up to you guys. Who else would you add? Does your workout playlist differ according to the split? Now, you guys need to go over to, let me see if I can pull this up. We have a Massive Iron playlist. Spotify. Okay, I'm going to try to get this on without it playing anything. So you guys can go. Here we go. I found it. Share screen. All right, man. Go over to your Spotify. Now you can see what I've been listening to lately down here in the gym. Danzig. This album, just been running the heck out of it. I have a System of a Down. Listen to that a lot of times in my car. Dennis Pauna does death metal versions of Metallica songs. Absolutely amazing. Ice Cube. Let's see. What else do we got? This album by Faith No More. But here's a Massive Iron playlist. If you go over to Spotify, you have the Massive Iron official playlist. If you guys want any song added to it, please, by all means, let me know. I listen to this most times when I'm lifting. So we have like Tool, Metallica, some old school stuff like Nazareth, some Rocky, Bill Conte, Gonna Fly Now. This one was put up for someone on Team Massive, and we let it pump up the jam. We left it in there. You got classics, Iron Maiden, Nirvana, AC/DC. There's a lot of stuff that deserves to be in here. But if you guys have any songs that you want added to the Massive Iron playlist, let me know. We got a pretty good lifting playlist if you like metal, but I'd really add anything in there if you guys like it. So let me know. Check that out. Have you done a post on legends, etc. for gym numbers? You've done a post on legends for bros. What would be for your ladies? Now I'm going to try to find this. I was trying to find this before I came on, and there's so many. Let's see, women strength, and let's do like, I don't know, bench. I'm trying to search. I did a video on strength standards, and there's one out here, and let me see if I can find it on YouTube. So just hold on a second. Don't go anywhere. I don't want to be dismissive of the ladies because it's not like I don't care, right? I do, but when I make a video just on female strength standards, because 98.7% of my audience is, men, I don't get a lot of views on it, so I like to keep that stuff for like social media. So where art thou? Where art thou? I'm trying to find strength standards. Give me 1 second here. I'm just looking through my videos. Size doesn't equal strength. We'll look for a little bit more, and then I'll just kind of go over things no matter what. What do you guys think are impressive strength standards for women? What do you think when you're in a gym and you see, here we go. Here's the men and women. I got it. And I'm going to pull it up and we'll go over this really, really quickly. Oh, I gotta mute it. We're going to go to the end and let's see. That's for men. And where's the women? All right. We're going to pull it up. Present, share screen, and strength standards. So this is a video we did a while back. I'm not sure if you can see this, but the column on the right is mine, and you have bench press, okay? And you have dips. You have the left number is men, and the right number is women. So on the bench press of 315 for men, I put, when I see 135 for women, I consider that super duper. I do. I wouldn't consider that gym legend. I would consider probably 135 is super respectful on bench for women. I've trained some pretty strong women in my day on squats and deadlifts, and they didn't really reach that level. 160, 170 is definitely a legend, and the 200 is GOAT level. Weighted dips, if I see a woman doing weighted dips with 25 or weighted chins with 25, definitely gym legend. Barbell and dumbbell row, if I see a woman doing 70, they're a gym legend on the dumbbell row. 150 barbell row. Squat, the thing with squats and women are that I've coached some women that have really big natural legs. I coached one female named Jasmine, and after 3 months, she did 225 by 15 or 20 on the squat. I kid you not. Just really thick, sturdy legs, and just absolutely crushed it. So you have kind of two classes of women. You have the ones that don't have the thick, sturdy legs, and the ones that do. So for the average woman that's not built with like really sturdy legs, about 185, 200, and for women that are, about 275. Deadlift 275 to 350. Again, you have the really sturdier size legged woman. I hate to be reductionist and boil things down to two categories, but I've coached 3 women that just showed up, and they have legs that are just powerful, right? And if you're one of those women, 350 is gym legend status. Overhead press 95, gym legend. Dumbbell overhead 40s, maybe 50s, and barbell curl and close grip. So I hope that helps some. That's an interesting look at some things. Let's see. Yep, wife was curious. Your wife is a gym legend right now, so you can tell her I mentioned that if she's not watching. Stein, how's it going, Stein? Happy Friday. Good morning. Jimmy, good morning, Team Massive. Are there progression indicators on sets with specific rep ranges, say 3 by 8? So like straight sets, 3 by 8, 3 by 9, 3 by 10, 3 by 12, 3 by 15. What I basically do is set a progression indicator on the last set. So if you're 3 by 8 on bench or squats, push the last set for as many reps as possible. And if you get like 10, add weight. So people will ask, why just the last set? I feel like I'm wasting the first 2 sets. If you feel like that mentally, that's okay. You can change things. But if you start pushing the first set for max safe reps, just know that the second and third set is also going to be for max safe reps. So you're going to have to pretty much be prepared for pushing all 3 sets for maximum reps. If you do that, you can use my rep goal system, which I talked about in my first book, Massive Iron, where you have a total number of reps you're looking for 3 sets. So what I would do is take 3 by 8, which is 24, and add 3, 4, 5 in. So you could have like 25, 26, 27, 28. You could set as a rep goal. You push all the sets, and then when you reach that rep target, then you would add weight. You could do dynamic double progression if you're pushing all sets and have a progression indicator for each set. But if you're going to go with straight sets, you're better off doing 8, 8, and 10. Some people really panic because you're not pushing every set to the limit. But over the course of 5, 10 years, there has to be some balance, right? I can't go into the gym after 38 years and push every set to the limit. Mentally, I'm over that a little bit. Physically, it can be a little bit punishing depending on the exercise. And also, it's not a requirement as long as you have consistent progression over time. As long as you're getting 30 to 60% of your sets push for maximum, at least 1 set per exercise, you're going to be fine in the long run, okay? Because that pushing that last set, you're going to push that up, and it's going to slowly make the other sets harder and harder, and they're going to rise to that level. So they're getting harder over time. You just aren't pushing them specifically for max safe reps. The second set might be 2 reps left in the tank. The first set might be 3, etc. Barbell Beauty, happy Friday. I hope you got your coffee. Big Joe B. How effective are Bulgarian split squats? Joe. We're going to take you to Massive Iron School. First off, is it a reasonable exercise? Okay, yes. So if it is a reasonable exercise, it is an effective exercise. Does that mean there are degrees? So does that mean it's as good as a leg press? Does that mean it's as good as a squat? We don't think like that in the Massive Iron world. Number 1, is it a effective exercise? Yes. Okay. Number 2, then we put together a plan, a weekly plan of a grouping of effective exercises. Okay. We have to make sure that that grouping contains some of the bigger hitters, like leg press, pendulum squat, hack squats, Smith squats, the really big hitters, right? So you got to make sure you get a couple of those in the mix. Now, Bulgarian split squats and lunges are difficult exercises, but they're not as big of a hitter as the big hitters. That's just the way it is. And obviously there's nuance here. Sometimes when I frame things like this, it does trigger some people because they're like, well, lunges were super hard for me. Yeah, of course they were. But I'm not saying a top level set of lunges when you're doing them with a safety squat bar and doing alternating lunges and you got 200 on your back isn't super effective, or isn't super challenging. I'm just saying it's not quite at the level of doing a 400-pound set of squats for 10. That doesn't mean it's 8 degrees below, right? So we always look at our weekly exercise profile for each major and minor body part. Is this a good selection of exercises? That's one of the pillars of success in the Massive Iron world. It is one of the essential 10 pillars of success that you have a quality selection of exercises. So is that quality? Yes. Effective? Absolutely effective. Absolutely. If it was effective, I wouldn't even talk about it. There are some exercises that I don't believe are effective in an efficient manner for hypertrophy, even though they're something you could do in the gym if you wanted to, but absolutely. Justin Jones, good morning. Big, hairy, ugly dude and Team Massive. For those of us doing cardio for general health, and that should be all of you, should we make it harder over time? Don't overthink this stuff, right? That's personal goal. If you went out today and you just got 7,000 to 10,000 steps a day, walking the dog, having your wife walk you, having your girlfriend walk you, whatever, and you want to get in a little bit gym cardio, steady state, if all you did was walking in a little bit steady state, you're good. Movement is the key, right, for general health. General movement and taking care of your food is kind of taking care of yourself with food is the baseline for general health. Do you need to make it hard? Do you need to become a speed walker? Do you need to become like somebody doing super elaborate HIIT on a treadmill? No, you don't have to do any of that stuff, right? You can just pick up a jump rope, jump for 20 minutes a day, go on a treadmill, do 20 minutes of movement. That general movement is going to be all you need for good health, right? Movement is an integral part of good health. Now, there was an article that I put together a while back on Tiger Fitness many, many years ago, probably 8 or 9 years ago, that showed that when you're super sedentary, it's almost as bad for individuals as smoking. And that can sound shocking, but if you're not getting more than 3,000 steps a day and you're not lifting weights, you're probably not going to be in good health. Sitting all day is not good for us. So we need to get our butt up. We need to get some steps in. We need to get some movement in. I don't advocate you necessarily just grind on gym cardio. Do something you like. Go bowling. Go shoot bow and arrow. Do something you like to do. Some other activity that has you standing and moving around other than lifting. So you don't need to get super conditioned, like a CrossFit athlete to have good health. Big JJ, is there a leg exercise that can be done with a cable station? Wow. You can do some exercises that involve the legs, but they're usually pretty ganky to set up. Like you could do pull throughs, but those are more hips. You could almost do a form of a cable leg curl, but you need that ankle thingy, right? Quads. I mean, you could hold on to one of the barbells and try to do a movement similar to a goblet squat, but is that going to give you any real? Nah, not really. I don't know. Somebody might have some creative way, but I've never seen personally or advocated any cable station leg exercise. You're better off doing like Bulgarian split squats and alternating lunges and that sort of thing. Much better bang for your buck. Let me get a drink here and we'll hop on to the next question. All right. Is there a way to shoulder press with cables? No reason. It's not going to give you any advantage. Certainly not any advantage over a dumbbell or barbell overhead press. No, you always have someone on the internet that likes a specific variation, and they'll say, that's better for me than this. Well, it means you like it better than a dumbbell overhead press. I get it, right? I like side lateral raises better than I like seated pin presses because they don't kick me as hard, right? That doesn't mean they're better or have an advantage. So it depends on the cable station. You could do a single arm cable overhead press. If you can put your cables like this and be seated and have a seat back like an adjustable, you could do a seated overhead cable press. And there's a possibility that could be a really quality movement, almost comparable to an Arnold or a seated dumbbell overhead press. So yeah, you could do that. It just depends on your available equipment. And with the cable stations, a lot of times it really comes down to how ganky or natural the cable stations feel, because one cable station can feel completely different than the other. So it really comes down to how it feels for you. So before we move on to the next question, I posted a video this week where my chair squeaked. And somebody was like, "Are you farting, big, hairy, ugly dude?" No, I'm not farting. That's my chair. Get over it. It's funny when you make a video, you're trying to make a content video, and you're trying to be all serious, you're like Mr. Serious Guy, and you're trying to put out good content, and then you get the only 3 comments you get are, "You farting?" No, it's my chair. Get over it. Steve and Team Massive. How long would you say it takes for the average lifter with a normal life to reach the gym legend status? As long as your training is how I teach it. There's varying degrees. It's going to depend on the lift. I mean, a very fast start, 3 years would probably be the soonest. Training hard, training juicy, really getting after it, 5 years is more realistic. But, it could be anywhere from 7 to 10 years. So it really depends on how focused you are, if that makes sense. Who do you think will win in the Big 3 All-Star versus the Dutch Olympic team? I will tell you, I like the Big 3 basketball league, but they don't play. By the end of the season, they're a little bit more in a good groove, right? But there's a lot of missed shots at times. It's a little bit more loose. It's a little bit more like street ball at times. Things are a little bit more loose and run and gun. I don't know, man. It's going to depend on the Big 3 team and how cohesive they feel, because how cohesive they play. I think it would be a pretty tight matchup. And I'm kind of giving the advantage to one of the non-Big 3 teams, unless anybody can beat anybody on any given day. By the way, if you're interested in this funky shirt, this is one of the Massive Iron shirts I have over my website, superlivingtoday.com. I don't make a lot of money off shirts. I make a couple, $2, $3, $4, $5. But if you want some good gym attire, you can head over to superlivingtoday.com, hit the apparel tab. What does this say? Push each set for as many quality reps as possible. Just got the mantra up there. In terms of long-term approach, is dynamic progression across ranges all you need. You can. I mean, Sam, the way I can best say this is, you only need one effective progression approach. It can be anything that you like, right? We don't want to dumb things down to the point where we're like, I'm going to use the same progression approach for every exercise, because you have to give yourself the freedom to change the progression approach based on the exercise. I don't approach deadlifts the same as I do cable extensions as far as progression. Some exercises are going to hit their limit a lot more quickly. So lat pull downs tend to hit a limit more quickly. You might hit a limit or a real dramatic slowing of progression on a cable tricep extension. So always remember that the demands of every exercise are different. And you might say, hey, I want to do this form of progression on everything. That's fine as a starting point, but just allow yourself the ability to change on the fly as long as you have a progression approach. There's no magic progression approach, and give yourself the freedom to adjust it on each specific exercise. All right, we're going to talk about the big juicy calves. Why are they a controversial muscle group? Because it's all theory. A lot of it, most of what they're talking about is theory. Now, hear me out. This is why I say it's a lot of speculation and theory. You see a lot of people who'll be like, obviously you see people in public that have these humongous calves just born from the womb, like the dad calves, like the beer belly dad calves, right? look like 18 inches and ripped calves. And like people would die for their calf size. And then you have like some people with naturally stick calves, right? Just cursed. So because of this genetic variance, you get a lot of speculation and chatter that goes something like this. Calves are chads. Calves are mostly genetic. They can't be built, so you're just going to like, okay, you get a lot of conversations like that. The problem is that this is all speculation, right? And obviously, because we have a wide spectrum of genetics from the womb, you have the dad calves and you have the stick calves. It's also reasonable to say there's a wide variety of genetic outcomes from training. Okay. You might have some stick calf people that can't gain no matter what. You might have some middle of the road folks that gain exponentially with proper calf training. So as reasonable human beings, we have to allow for genetic variability and variability from training. Now, the bottom line is this, and you guys know this to be true. Answer this question right now. When is the last time you went into the gym and saw somebody training calves like bench or biceps? Probably never. You probably seen one guy that might have been doing seated calf raises. But realistically, was he using a weight, he, she, whatever, using a weight that made your jaw drop? Like when you walk into a gym, you see somebody deadlifting 500. What do? You usually stop without even thinking about it and look. If you walk into the gym and you see somebody doing this with 315 on the bench, usually stop and look. Honest question. When is the last time you went into the gym and somebody made you stop with their calf training? Now, the point of this is simple. There's not a lot of people really training calves like their life depends on it. So if somebody is worried about their calves, the only way to truly determine it is to get in and train them appropriately with progressive overload. One of the struggles with training calves is that they have a limited range of motion. Okay, when I do an overhead press, I have this, right? Hand starts here, all the way up, big range of motion. With a calf raise, it's like this. Like my sound effects, right? Just a little range of motion. So why does that matter? Well, we don't generally need to worry about time under tension as long as we have a reasonable grouping of exercises. But there are certain muscle groups where we need a little bit more. We might need a little bit more volume or time. Calves and traps. This is the range of motion of training your traps. This is the range of motion of training your calves. So we might need a little bit more volume. We might need to slow things down. What I advocate as a good starting point on the seated calf raise is to do 2 seconds up, 1,001, 1,002, hold, 2 seconds down. That will really hit your soleus, right? And that's a good starting point. You can also do standing calf raises, rocking calf raises. You can do a rocking calf raise for rest pause, 40, 50, 100 reps. Now, rocking calf raise, you strap up. You have a barbell in front of you, okay? You can do this at a – we don't want to put the barbell on our back because our shoulders are going to go numb. But we hold a barbell in front of us with straps. And a rocking calf raise, this is your heel right here, okay? Your heel. So you rock back on your heel. You don't lift your foot off the ground, but you put your weight on your heel, and then you go forward on your toes. Back on your heel, forward on your toes. So you can do a lot of rocking calf raises, a lot of volume, just by grabbing a barbell and strapping up. That's another thing you can do. But ultimately, you have to progressively overload. And I would probably train calves twice a week. So I hope that helps a little bit. Thoughts on loaded box step-ups. All right, we have to understand nuance. There is nuance in lifting. So we have to understand there's nuance in lifting. We have to understand there's nuance in lifting. If you guys see me playing around, I got all these little connectors here for I got like a million connectors. Like I'm obsessed because I got so much stuff in my home gym, right? So many different devices and cameras. I got all these different connectors. Anyway, there's nuance in lifts, and we have to respect that. Can the box squat be a good quad stressor? Absolutely. Are there downsides to the box squat which could increase injury? Yes. Now, I'm not somebody that's going to get crazy with pushing guys and girls and lifters to worry about injuries, right? I'm not like upright rows are going to kill you, leg extensions are going to kill you, squats are going to kill you. I'm not that kind of the sky is falling type of coach. But there are some exercises I personally am very aware of the downsides, and you have to be as well. Now, a step up, I did a lot of body weight step ups. The higher you go, the higher the risk of injury, right? The risk isn't stepping up. The risk is stepping back down, okay? Stepping back down, you're going to increase the risk of injury. It's going to have I'm not trying to be a sky is falling type of guy, but there is a risk of injury. You know, you coming down on your foot, your Achilles, things like that. You have to be really careful, especially if you're using a heavier weight. Jeff Nippert put out his minimal program, and I put out a critique of it a while back, and he included a pretty high box step up. I don't like that at all, especially for the average lifter. I don't think it's a good option. Could you do it? Yeah, anybody could do it. I think a more moderate box would be a better idea, but just be really, really careful with this lift. I'm not telling you guys not to do it, but just be really careful. Is a DDP for Bulldozer sets possible? Those are two different progression approaches. So what you're saying is you want to use the same way. Like, okay, let's say we're doing side laterals for a rest pause protocol. You do 12, you do 7, you do 5, you do 4, you do 3. You know, as many sets of laterals as you can, resting for 15 seconds, do as many sets as laterals as you can. This is the Bulldozer protocol, okay? You generally do 5 rest pause sets. You're saying, could you give each individual set a progression indicator? No. On paper, you could, but if you're going to give 10 as a progression indicator of the second set, and the third set, then the first set's going to end up being like 30 reps if you're training hard, 25 reps. You're going to have like 25, you're going to have like 18, you're going to have like 12 on the third set. It's going to get ridiculous. There's no advantage. It's just, it would be a complete clusterfuck, to be honest with you. No advantage. Bulldozer sets are effective as they are. What the best thing you could do is alternate every other week. You could do, like, using the side lateral example, you could do side laterals DDP one week and side laterals Bulldozer the next. Does that make sense? Does that make sense? I just saw some question at the end. Ian, why do you always call us average lifters? What if we want to be above average? I'm here to help you be above average, man. That's what I do every week. I want nothing more to help you be above average. I'm not insulting anybody, my friend. This channel is dedicated to clearing away the shit in this industry. And I will show you guys the golden path and clear away all the nonsense. Everything I do every single day is to help you guys free yourself from all the chaos, free yourself from all the noise. My entire life is dedicated to helping everyone become superior. That's what I want for everyone. I'm not, when I say the average lifter does this, that's not an insult. That's just what the average lifter does. I'm not saying I want you guys to be average lifters. So, appreciate you tuning in. Where are we? There we go. How often should we monitor our bulks? Every week, twice a week. You got to weigh in at least twice a week. What would be the indicator to increase or decrease the calories? So you have to look at the nature of the curve. You can't just look at spikes and bumps. You have to look at the nature of the curve, of the line, the linear nature of the curve. And you generally need, like if it's going up too rapidly after 2 weeks, you can tell you want to pull back 100, 150, 200 calories. A lot of times this is going to involve somebody that's experienced. So my best advice for you is let me teach you, right? Come over to teammassiveiron.com. But outside of that, you have to look at the linear nature of the curve. And you have to decide if the rate of weight gain is about where it needs to be. 2 at the lowest, 3 at the very highest. That's all it is. You have to be able to understand the linear nature of the trajectory of the data. I have some examples on Team Massive. I don't know if I can pull them up without pulling in people's names. So let me check. I had a couple just from today. Let me just check. Okay, so I think I can pull this up without giving away anybody's name, etc. And this is going to be a pretty good example. So let's share the screen. This is from teammassiveiron.com. Okay, so can you see this upswing in weight? You got a lot of ups and downs, a lot of ups and downs, a lot of ups and downs. Okay, this is Justin Jones. His name's up here. Sorry, man. We gave away your data. Okay, so if you just looked right here, you see this dot right here, like 170 point a couple 2 tree. And then this huge swing up 5 pounds, you'd be like, oh, my bulk isn't working, right? That's just water fluctuation. Maybe there was some exercise-induced inflammation. Maybe Justin went out to a Mexican restaurant, had a few too many tortilla chips, right? Maybe his sister had a wedding and he got a little bit too much free beery, right? So we don't worry about all these peaks and valleys. We worry about the linear nature of the curve. If you look here, let's start about here, 171. You see this? And then we go up to about the midpoint, which is about 180. There's about a 9-pound gain linearly if you ignore all the peaks and valleys. That's life. That's normal life. That's like if you think that you're going to be able to have everything a straight line, you're living in a fairy tale world. That's not the way life works. Even if you nail your protein and nail your macros and eat the same foods every single day and go to sleep at the same time every single day, etc., there's still going to be water variance. That's the nature of human existence. You can't weed that out. So big Justin Jones here. I'm sorry again for using your data. 171 to 180, a 9-pound increase. Started on about 115, January 15th, and ended up about May 9th. So a little bit shy of 4 months. So in the massive iron world, I generally aim for about a 10-pound bulk over 3, 4, 5 months. He had about a 9-pound bulk in a little bit less than 4 months. Perfect. right where we want to see. So Justin nailed his bulk. Then he got his cut over. You can see the dramatic drop off of the cut, a little bit more aggressive cut than the bulk, which is exactly what we want to see. Justin is a good student. And then he got it back. Look at his bulking rate again is the same as it was before. So he's right back on track. Absolutely perfect. So the key when looking at a bulk and cut is not to panic when things bounce around. You have to be patient and watch for this linear nature. If you start making adjustments here, oh, my weight dropped, let me add 500 calories. All of a sudden, the line's going to go like this, right? So half of this battle is just being patient. I hope that helps a little bit. Big Joe G. Steve, what is your opinion on my split? Push, chest, shoulders, maybe arms, pull, back, maybe rear delts and trapezoids, off, arms, repeat. I'm doing a little bit of tries on push day. That's fine. There's nothing missing other than legs. Just try to keep a little bit of leg work in the mix if you can. I'm not sure of your personal situation, but in this type of split, what I would advocate doing is putting in one leg exercise each day if you can. Thanks for answering our questions. Thank you for giving me your questions. I'm just some dork sitting here on the internet trying to help people with lifting, so I'm glad to help. Is there something less conducive when keeping a rep goal just as sets versus reps? So 3x10 squats, less conducive. I'm trying to weed through the question. Is there something less conducive when keeping a rep goal? Now, I'm trying to make sure I understand you properly with what you. Conducive means tending to cause or produce something. So conducive means, is this conducive to a good result? Okay. The rep goal system is conducive to a good result. Any progression approach reasonable is conducive to a good result. So if you do 3x10, you could make the last set max safe reps. You could do them DDP. I'm not sure I understand completely, but any reasonable progression approach is conducive to good results. Paul, good morning, Paul. Thank you for tuning in. Paul's down in New Mexico. He's eating all kinds of green chilies. That sounds really good, Paul. It's been the last time I had a green chili cheeseburger was 1988, believe it or not, 36 years since I've been to New Mexico. My brain weeps at that time, man. It seems like 10 years ago, but time goes by that quickly. Let us not forget the bacon. Nolan Kleinemann, 4 tips for dumbbell lateral raises to get it to feel better. All right, so I'm going to pull up something. Hold on, guys. Laterals, massive iron. Okay, search laterals, massive iron, laterals, massive iron. And whenever I'm typing on the run here, I just completely botch everything. But where is my, okay, that's Bulldozer laterals. Okay, here we go. Let's see if YouTube gives me a strike for playing my own video. I wouldn't rule it out. So I'm going to present this because I put this together and it's a really good tutorial. You want to lean the torso forward a little bit. You want to brace your core and you want to drive the elbows up. You want at your side, you don't want the dumbbells completely out from your shoulder. You want them a little bit forward. That's a little bit better leverage position. So let's see if we have, let's see here. Talk about this lift. It's not complicated, but it's a lift that is often messed up. Now, a lot of times you'll see guys standing straight upright. Their head is straight over their hips, is straight over their feet, and they keep their arms really straight and stiff, and they almost flap like a bird. You don't want to do that. I try to lean my torso forward just a little bit. I have a very natural stance, sometimes a very narrow stance. I find a more narrow stance than my deadlift stance actually feels better to me. And from there, you want to use your shoulders and elbows at the same time to drive the weight up. Shoulders and elbows driving the weight up. And you can have your arms slightly bent and natural. But when you lift it, you don't want to lift it directly out to the side. You want to lift the dumbbells to the side, but to a little bit in front of the shoulders. So anytime you talk about a lift like this, you're going to get some nuance and hyper critique. At the end of the day, it's really about how it feels for you. But by leaning a little bit forward, you can get a little bit better leverage. I like the brace and dip down. And then as you're driving up, like some people will see that little bit of torso swing, they'll be like, cheating, okay? When you're thinking about cheating, you have to think about which aspect is causing the initial movement. On a seated cable row, if you move your torso back and then drive your elbows back, cheating, but really, I mean, what you're doing is you're using your lower back to initiate the row and then locking out. You're trying to put yourself in a better leverage position and then pull. So is it cheating? Well, it could be nuanced. It could depend on how the back feel is, but in general, I like to see this: elbows driving back, feel, and then the torso moving back a little bit. On a side lateral raise, I kind of dip down to put myself in a good leverage position, drive my elbows up. And when I'm doing that, you're going to see your shoulders move up. Okay, watch. Shoulders are going to move up. Traps are moving up, right? Watch the shoulders and traps move up. When they're doing that, your torso is going to move up a little bit as well. But as long as your traps and your elbows and your shoulders are leading the dance, right? This is what's leading the dance. If you do this and swing, right? Swing, this is cheating. Swing, like you're driving your torso back to generate momentum. From this position, if you're focusing on driving your elbows and shoulders up, your torso will go back as a result of that, but that's okay. Like this, up, right? And then your torso goes back a little bit. That's okay. Steve, Coach, do you have any point of view as to vitamins supplementation for lifters? This is always going to be an area where some people get their undies in a bundle, as my mom used to say. Like, there are a lot of reactionaries out there that'll say all supplements are junk, but we're not idiots. And I mean that respectfully. We understand that not every black and white answers are the fodder of idiots. Anytime you see anybody in the lifting industry, and if this is you, you still have time to repent. We love you. But if you say black and white answers like, all this is this, we don't generally live in a black and white world, right? Not all supplements are crap. Not all Smith machine exercises are crap. Whatever the black or white answer is, right? So you guys can do research yourself at examine.com. That's my source. If somebody asks me, I am going to look at examine.com for the latest research to make sure the older research that I comb through as an editor is legit. Now, I spent a long time as an editor in the lifting industry. I've written probably over 1,000 articles myself, and I've edited literally over 10 million words as my time in editor. I've seen every study come by my desk, literally. So even though I've read all, I've seen creatine articles 100 times. But even though I've read all that, I like to stay up to date on the latest research. So I do check things out at examine.com. What do I recommend for the average lifter? The biggest hole sometimes in our training can be electrolytes, okay? Depending on when you train, depending on how hot it is, depending on a lot of different variables. But if you want to really feel flat in the gym, make sure you underconsume sodium. then you will feel flat. Well, people will often say, big, hairy, ugly dude, why just sodium? There's other electrolytes, calcium, phosphorus, magnesium, etc. Why do you focus so much on sodium? Because, and I believe somewhere around 90%, and I can't remember if it's 80, 85, 90, whatever. It's a number like that. When we sweat, most of what we sweat out is sodium. It's not potassium, magnesium, calcium. So when you see these electrolyte drinks being taken by runners, they're formulated a little bit wrong because they're trying to balance out all these electrolytes. This is my opinion based on experience and what I read. There's nothing wrong with an electrolyte drink. There's nothing wrong with taking a little bit extra magnesium or phosphorus or calcium while you're lifting. But if you're going to do an endurance race and you're going to you probably need more sodium. But sodium in general, back to the point, sodium in general is the first thing you need to focus on. So I went for a walk last night after lifting. Pretty hot out. I was sweating a lot. I drank an electrolyte drink immediately afterwards. Watch your electrolytes, specifically sodium. Okay, especially if it's hot. That's number one. I do a lot of gummies these days, and that's just because I'm lazy and I'm tired of choking down pills. So I do gummy multivitamin as just as a backup. What's it going to hurt, right? Some people say multivitamins are useless. Hey, you do you. I'm going to have the backup. No downside. No one other than some aberrant, unique case is going to pass away from taking a multivitamin. So I do vitamin D as a backup because I sit down here a lot and I'm not in the sun. I do B12 as a backup. A lot of us are B12 and vitamin D deficient, so those are good. I do a fish oil gummy. I do ashwagandha, which just for anxiety and focus, and then I do creatine. Now, creatine, we all know the muscle building hype. It's like a 1%. It'll only benefit you a little bit with energy, etc. It's not going to turn you into a mass monster. It's not a steroid, but it has too many potential positive benefits to be ignored. Now, it also has cognitive benefits, and we ain't the smartest. We chose to lift. We're not the smartest people in the world, right? We're meatheads. We're dum-dums. We need all the cognitive benefits we can get, right? According to the rest of the world, because we're dumb meatheads that just eat Tupperware meals. So there's no downside there. But that's your starting point. You have your creatine, you have your electrolytes, vitamin D, vitamin B12, multivitamin, fish oil, maybe ashwagandha. You got a good base. All right, guys, we are about an hour in. A lot of good questions already today, so we're going to keep the train rolling. Feel free to post up as many questions as you want. I'll stay on. This is what I love to do on Friday. I'll stay on all damn day. For those of you guys that are tuning in from Facebook, from X, from LinkedIn, give me a message. Let me know you're watching on those platforms. So I put them out on everything. It's just part of this platform. And let me know if you're able to comment, because I don't always know. I had a comment from X. Anyway, we're going to get into it. Before we do, just a quick commercial. Please, if you're interested in coaching, check out superlivingtoday.com. It's only $89.40 after the first month. Come join my community, teammassiveiron.com. Come follow me on Instagram at Ben the Barman. And what else? I got a lot of good apparel over here, like this sexy, massive shirt. I got a new shirt. I'll show you guys real quick, and I'm not going to do a long, boring commercial. But I make a lot of shirts over at superlivingtoday.com. Again, not trying to be an apparel company. I just make them for myself because I can. If you go to my website and search apparel, okay, we're going to pull this down real quick. This will take 32 and a half seconds. So don't get your undies in a bundle. Present, share, screen, stick around. We're going to get into some more good stuff. This is just our break here. All right. You go over to my apparel tab at superlivingtoday.com, superlivingtoday.com. You can sort by new to old. And this is the newest one I just put out this week. Just cracked me up, 75% natty. All the natty not talk. I'm a defiant son of a gun at heart, so I'm like, let's just put out one that says 75% natty. I just find it funny. So we got that available, and that's one of the newer ones. I got access to Champion. This tie-dye hoodie is pretty cool with a little massive iron on there. And I just kind of do random designs at times. Massive iron, you got that classic style that's being passed around everywhere just for fun. I got this one in this week. I made it for myself. It's kind of a Danzig ripoff. I'm a big Danzig fan, but I took the font and made massive. Looks pretty damn cool. I like wearing it, so I got the tattoo on my body. What can you do? Sue me, right? And then we got like a drawstring bag. Somebody asked for a drawstring bag. We got the massive iron drawstring bag. I put out the patriotic one for those Americas for 4th, the massive iron. I do a lot of this stuff just for fun. We got a wide variety. I got a wide variety of T-shirts and colors and styles and all kinds of things. We got the She-Bulk. Some of the females on massive iron. We did kind of a She-Hulk ripoff, and we did the She-Bulk. I'm about as witty as you get, right? That's a little bit generic, but it's not bad. Not everything can be a masterpiece. A couple more. We talk about the +1, the massive world, and we got the old +1 shirt. And let's look at one more. We got kind of the cartoonish comic book mass iron smash. Fun little colorful shirt. You can impress mom and dad with. The massive iron hoodie. One more. This one's one of my favorites. The massive iron underthinking team, right? Toxic training. We're underthinking, so therefore we're not optimal and scientific, and we're toxic. But we got some fun stuff over there. So if you want some fun T-shirts, I don't jack them up. I make like $2, $3, $4, $5 a T-shirt. But if you want some good lifting attire, I got tons and tons and tons, pages after pages of lifting shirts. So we even got a dog bowl with Patty Pereira on. I think I'm gonna have to take that down. All right, where are we at, guys? Let's get back to the fun. Nolan, I'm all out of creatine. Do you still sell it? Unfortunately, no. I had that stuff invites a lot of scammers, people trying to order 6 and then do chargebacks. And it gets really crazy, especially with supplements overseas. Like you'll have somebody in some rare area where their sister works at some weird bank, and this is so common. There's such a big thing with chargebacks and supplements. People would order like 12 and then they charge it back, and you'd have to spend hours fighting this chargeback. And it just got to be a major headache for me, unfortunately. Fat Chick in a Barn. We were talking about the Mount Rushmore lifting. Arnie, Corey, Dorian, Ronnie. I got Arnie and Ronnie and Steve Reeves. I don't know who I'd put on after that. I mean, you guys let me know. I'm tempted to. Dorian is such a legend. I don't know. Mike said Arnold, Lee, Ron, Lou. I love Lou, but I don't know if I'd put him up there. We have to agree to disagree. Big Billy Baker. Happy Freitag, listening from the gym during shoulder day. Have a good workout. Frank got an interesting. Eugene, good choice. Steve Reeves, Schwarzenegger. Zane, not a bad collection. We're missing one of the modern lifters, but it's your Mount Rushmore, so we're not going to bag on you at all. Big Joe B. Do you think a pound or two of muscle loss is plausible? Yeah, absolutely. There's going to be a rate of decay, right? If you're not using the muscle, the body's going to say, why are we maintaining this muscle mass if it's not being used? The body's going to sink to a level of efficiency. So it's not going to rapidly get rid of muscle. This is one of the nonsensical things you see tossed around in the lifting world. Like, if I don't lift for 2 days, I'm going to lose all muscle. No, you're not going to lose all muscle. The body is going to, first and foremost, be smart, efficient. The body has to be efficient. That's essential for survival. So if you miss a few days off the gym, the body's just not going to like, oh, we've been training hard forever, but now we're going to get rid of 5-10 pounds of muscle because you haven't trained in 2 days. That's super inefficient, because if you get back to training, then you're going to have to, put it back on rapidly. So the body's going to slowly acclimate. After 3 months, yeah, you're going to lose probably, I don't know. We're not going to speculate because it's silly, but you're going to lose some muscle. It's going to slowly go like that over 3 months. The good news is muscle memory is the real deal. It works. I've been through it. And you'll go right back up. Just give it 3 months. You'll have it all back. It's not like you lose it forever. You'll have it back. Big Norris, what's going on, Norris? Thanks for tuning in. Norris runs a podcast and is a lifter of power lifter. Big Joe B. Saw Deadpool and Wolverine. Pretty sure Hugh isn't and wasn't natural, even though he claims he never took anything. I didn't see his physique yet from the movie, so I don't know. If you took a combination of like HGH and Tren, even if you weren't like getting humongous, it would be easy for you to lean up, right? So I don't know. If you had $1 billion on the line, you might want to take something that helps you get lean really quickly as well. So I don't know. I don't want to speculate, but you know what? There's a good chance some of these guys are using a little bit of something. Big Nolan, what would the seated BTN setup look like? Okay, so on the front pin press or seated overhead press, you want to have the seat back about 70 degrees. Number one, so you're not smashing the bar in your ugly beak. Number two, so you're not smashing the bar in that big fat moon chin that your mom and daddy gave you, those big ugly genetics. No, I'm just smashing on us in general because we're ugly with big noses. But you want to lean back a little bit so you're not lowering the bar off that ugly mug of ours. Also, in this position, we want to keep our wrists over our elbows, okay? If the wrists get forward of the elbows when we come down, you're going to have this weird shoulder rotation, and then you're going to try to compensate, and you're going to put really weird stressors on the shoulder. So that's the reason why we lean back a little bit during a seated press. Number one, so we don't hit this ugly thing right here. And number two, so we can keep our wrists over our elbows. If you go upright on a seated press, you're going to have to get your elbows forward, and you're going to be in an awkward position for your shoulders again, and you're going to get weird stressors on your shoulders. That's the difference. If you're doing a standing overhead press, you can lean back, and you can keep your wrists over your elbows. Do you understand? So a seated B10, your weight is behind you, so it's not as essential that you lean back. You want to find a position that feels good. I don't feel perfectly upright good. I feel slightly back, so I can lean back into the seat back a little bit and have a little bit of support. Because if I'm going to have a weight behind my big fat watermelon head, I want a little bit support behind me on the back. So you're gonna bring it down, okay? I don't like to lower it to below the lower ear. I'm a little bit unbalanced here, but you can see my elbows are way below my shoulders, okay? You want your wrists about over your elbows and then press it back up. I hope that helps a little bit. Big Adonis. I've been really ill this week. Sorry to hear about it. That's a lot of weight, man. How should I drop? How much should I drop weight or sets? First off, once you feel better, you probably want to take 2-3 days of hydrating normally, of getting in your electrolytes and sodium, and probably getting in a few more carbotrons, right? A few more carbs. Get your rice or oatmeal or whatever in. Get your Little Debbie snack cakes in. Maybe have a little bit of ice cream. Let's get some carbs and some water and some sodium and stabilize things. And then when you feel like Rocky Balboa again, if it's been more than 10 days since you've been on a major lift, and I see your question, Nolan, I'll answer it here in a sec. Then you want to drop weight about 10%. So we're going to circle back to the seated BTN. We got Nolan. Start on pins or hooks. Good question. When it comes to a seated BTN behind the neck, you have to start at a position that feels good for you. What I used to do, and this is just what I did, I would set the J hooks right here, okay, with the bar right in front of this big fat beak. All right, and then I'd get my head under, and then I'd sit up and lean back, literally like that. It was just a matter of a few couple inches. So I'd get so close to the bar and the J hooks, and I'd get under, and I'd stand up, or not stand up, but I'd sit upright so I could get the weight over the J hooks and literally lean back like 6 inches. You could do that. One of the things you can do is unrack, set the J hooks up behind you like this, unrack. But then I'm afraid I'm going to hit the J hooks. That's how I used to do it, Nolan. And I got videos. If you need to see the videos, let me know. I'll try to dig them up. All righty. We did that one. All right. I progress on bench when I hit 3x8. That's fair. That's a progression approach. Reasonable. This week, 8th rep on 3rd was grindy. Ignore that. You got a progression approach. Who cares if your butt lifted off the bench? This isn't a butt lifting. I mean this respectfully. Who cares? We're in the gym for strength. If your butt lifts, who cares? If your elbow twitches, who cares? If your nipple gets a little tweaky, who cares? If your right leg gets a little bit stanky, who cares? I'm just being facetious in my attempt at humor. But you don't have to worry about any of that, right? It's going to get grindy. But you have a progression approach, and that's your progression approach. So once you hit your progression approach, you do not give a heck if your leg's doing the stanky leg, your nipples twitching, your butt's coming up. We don't care. You're working hard. That's not cheating. Your butt coming up isn't going to push the weight off your chest. Doesn't matter. This isn't competition bench. This is building muscle and strength. So absolutely you move up in weight. If not, you're not being true to your progression approach. Does that make sense? Personal. No, never bounce your deadlifts. There are people that disagree with me, and they're wrong. Don't bounce your deadlifts. You can get super strong on your deadlifts, and then you could bounce lighter weight if you want. But here's the thing. Number one, it's generally just going to transfer stress from your upper back to your lower back. And if you're bouncing off the ground, why wouldn't we remain strict and tight and not try to jar our lower back in the hole? I'm not going to put that wear and tear on my body. I do not believe in bouncing deadlifts at all. I want to start tight. I want to make sure that I'm not putting any stress on my bicep tendons. I want to make sure my form is locked in. The deadlift is a lift you do not want to fuck with, okay? You don't want to fuck with the squat either, right? And there's some people that like bouncing the deadlift. Good. That doesn't mean that I believe it's safe. If you want to do it, you go right ahead, but I do not advocate it. I want you to get tight. I want you to get your form locked in, and I want you to pull properly, okay? If you get super strong, you can do a 500 and 600 pound deadlift, and you want to bounce 275 or whatever, you have a strong lower back, go ahead. I still don't think that's the best way to train your upper back and traps. I think you're transferring a lot of stress on your lower back. And I do not advocate looseness or recklessness in training whatsoever. Okay? Get tight, get focused, recreate form, and pull from there. Lately, fitness YouTubers are advocating for hybrid programs like weightlifting combined with martial arts. Versatility is only better if you like versatility. That's the God's honest truth. It's not going to be better for physique development. Look, there's different things. Muscle building and strength building are basically the same thing until you reach more of a near advanced level. And then you can decide, hey, do I want to bring up my rear delts? Do I want to do low rep sets to try to work on my squat to get it to 550? At that level, then they part ways. But for the base, muscle and strength building are like this until you build a substantial base. They're the same thing. You're not going to vary rep ranges or anything like that. Do you have to become an ultra runner? Do you have to become martial arts? Do you have to do gymnastics? Do you have to do body conditioning? You don't have to do anything. You do it if you want to do it, right? If you want to play basketball, go play basketball. If you want to lift and play basketball, do so. I used to do so. I lift and run. Do whatever you want. Be you. Do you. If anybody's out there saying hybrid training is amazing, they probably believe it's amazing. For them, it is amazing. I mean, I like being able to deadlift near 400 pounds and run 50K. I like that. That's a personal thing. I'm not going to get on here and say you should do it too. I mean, if you're interested in it, great. I'll tell you how to do it. I'll give you the benefits and the downsides. But I want you to remember this, guys. Always try new things in life that interest you. That's one of the cornerstones of enjoying life. Try new things. It opens doors, right? If you're interested, you don't know, you want to paint, and you think you might suck at painting, you want to try beach volleyball, whatever the heck you want to do, go do it. Go do it. Don't pressure yourself to stick with it if you don't like it, but trying new things, that's all part of living a rich, full life. And these people mean well, but, stay out of the hype and do things that you want to do for the reasons you want to do them. And if you don't like them, move on to something else. I like the idea of riding a bike, mountain biking. I just don't like mountain biking. 5'10", long arms. That's me. Same as me. Short torso. That's the same as me. I have longer arms. What weight do you think would fill out my frame? The arm length and leg length isn't really going to be any different. You're carrying around the same amount of mass and mass potential. It's not going to change anything by 1, 2, 3 pounds. So I am 5'10". You're at 172 and about 18%. Your natural mass potential is about 178 to 180, give or take, roughly. We're not trying to create a rule, but it's roughly in that area. If you got to 190 at 15, you would look pretty darn amazing. So 185 to 1, I would say next goal for you would be 185 at 15%, and then assess how you look. I can bench 225 for 5. That's respectable. That's much respect. Squat 315 for 5. Very much respect. And deadlift 405 for 5. Very much respect. I've kind of plateaued. No, you haven't. You've naturally slowed down. Okay. Strength goes like this. Up, 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 up. And the stronger you get, the harder it is to get the next rep. It's not a plateau. It's a natural slowing. No, you don't just increase the calories. Your assumption is that you're doing something wrong. You're not. You're entering a new game. Going from a weak bench to 225 by 5 is easy in a relative sense. Going from 225 to 275 by 5 is going to be exponentially more difficult, and it'll take longer. You haven't plateaued. You just hit that intermediate stage where progress slows down. You can't expect the same progress you had as a beginner. you can't add 100 pounds to your bench every year as an intermediate unless you're a freak. It just doesn't work like that. So you need to be patient and you need to re-rack your expectations. Big Joe G. My calves are ridiculous, and I never train them. Same. My calves are ridiculous. If only the chesticles worked that way. True. I don't know. You guys ever seen my calves? I'm not out here like posting sexy calf pictures. I'm going to show you my calves, virtually untrained. Let's see if I can find a calves picture. Photos. Here we go. There are my calves. I'm going to show you. My calves are 18 inches, virtually untrained. When you train calves twice a year, that's it. Those are my calves. They're 18 inches. I've probably done 10 sets in 38 years. So just naturally like that. I wish chest and arms were like that, but they're not. But just lucky. MG, I trained calves Monday and still feeling sore today. Now, at least we know you're doing it right. Ian, do you need periodization ever? Well, do you need it? It depends on how you define periodization. Do you need to cycle weight ever? Not necessarily, no. It's going to be a case-by-case, lift-by-lift, lifter-by-lifter basis. I mean, if you get to 10 years into training and you're benching 365 and you're squatting 500 and you're pretty darn strong, do you want to continue to beat up your body every single week? That's your call. You're going to need to temper something probably a little bit just to sustain the next 30, 40 years of lifting. Do you need to periodize much getting up to those levels? No, not really. Not really. And I say not really because there might be a rare extreme case. Church, 9 weeks from nationals, any free game? Not sure what you mean. Big Vince. A friend of mine wants to do push, pull, ippy pull. What's I? What am I missing? Push, pull, I, push, pull, legs. We have upper, which is U. We have L, which is lower. We have legs and back and shoulders. Loves to train, but well, to make anything work, regardless of what the I means, I don't know what my brain is missing here, but we have to look at weekly volume. So the split itself, you can train 6 days a week. Let's say you did 72 hard sets over the course of 4 training days, which is possible, 18 hard sets a day. How many days you train doesn't matter, because what matters is that each training day makes sense and the weekly volume makes sense and you can recover from the training volume. He's perfectly fine. He's perfectly fine as long as the structure of the program is okay. That's where a lot of these influencers and e-experts or whatever get into trouble, is that they will say, this split sucks, this split does. It's lunacy. Anything can work if you structure it properly. So that's really the key, Vince. On week 3 of the bench program, I was hitting 225 by 4, but the last couple of weeks I can only hit. No, we do not step back and wait automatically. If your strength is going down, something else is happening. 9 times out of 10, it's inconsistent calorie intake or not in a surplus. Okay? So I'm not saying this is a case, but MG, I would like to look at your calories. Are you in a slight surplus? Because a lot of times if you're not tracking calories, you could be up and down a little bit, and that could be causing variances in glycogen and all kinds of things. So let's look at calorie intake first. HB, big hairy dude, do bulldozer sets? Yep, they count as one set. A bulldozer set is basically 5 rest pause sets. Grab a weight, whatever exercise you're doing, use the same weight for every set, a mini set of a bulldozer. Let's say you're doing curls. You do 5 mini sets. You do as many as you can safely, rest 15 to 20 seconds, as many as you can safely, rest 15 to 20 seconds, and you do 5 of these, okay? This is going to count as 3 sets. Sorry, this is going to count as 3 sets. It's the equivalent of 3 sets. Let's say you do 3 sets of 10 on curly whirlies, okay? 3 sets of 10, conventional stuff, 30 reps. On bulldozers, you're going to do rest pause. You're going to do 5 mini sets, resting 15 to 20 seconds in between. So let's say you hit 14 reps on the first mini set, 7 on the second because you're fatigued, that's 21. 5, that's 26. 4, that's 30. 3, that's 33. So you get 33 total reps on the bulldozer protocol. Straight sets, you do like 310, 3 by 12. It's basically the same number of reps as 3 sets. But with the bulldozer, the average rep intensity is increased a little bit, so you get that bonus. Big Vince. Can you increase bench with one time? Oh, yeah, that's what I did most of my career. Don't buy into the frequency thing. Use the program you like and attack. Don't buy into the frequency, and thank you, Vince. You use the program you like, and you'll be just fine. I'm scared to take creatine. That's nonsense. It's not going to make you lose your hair. Plus, men without hair are sexier. It's proven. You'd be better off losing that ugly hair. That you have to swoosh over, do the little dipsy doodles. The whole creatine hair loss is a huge myth. And I mean this as a collective group. We need to get over it. We need to get over it because the chances are super small, and it's just non-existent. I've never seen it. So just get over it. I've never seen anybody go bald from. Do your research. I'm not saying that in an aggressive, do your research way. I mean, do your research because it's a huge myth. Some people just can't let it go. Daniel Kleinemeyer, good morning. How's it going? Big Jonathan. Is it generally speaking okay to do dumbbell rows? Yeah. It's 1 out of 3 weekly. You can do how many ever sets you feel comfortable on any exercise. Because dumbbell rows are unilateral, meaning you do one arm and then the other, it can take longer because 3 sets turns into 6 sets, right? But really, you do whatever you feel comfortable with. What other superpower has lifting given you over the years? Mine is cracking eggs one-handed. Mental strength and mental confidence, the ability to do something one step at a time each day and conquer the world. It's really taught me the value of that. Anybody that's been following me for a long time knows I'm a schmuck, right? I started way back in the dungeon gym 13, 14 years ago. I went to work for Muscle and Strength, and though I was a good editor, no one really took me seriously because I didn't look like Mike Rashid, that type of physique. Then I went to Tiger Fitness, and I continued to improve, until I became super strong and made a great body transformation, and I conquered my goals in ultra running. I conquered everything I could ever want. I've lost weight, I did a dramatic body transformation, I got pretty darn strong, and I had a body that I was proud of. The biggest thing that lifting has taught me is to take one step forward every day and be patient, and you'll go to amazing places. Daniel, I haven't watched your videos in a while. You look bigger. Well, I'm back at training. So I'm not as small as I was at my peak, weight-wise. And I think I'm like 20 pounds over. But, Michael, how often do people with stubborn calves have to train? Well, if you train them properly, you probably need to train a couple times a week just for good luck. Let's just increase the intensity and really see what we can do. Jason says, I'm watching on X because YouTube never lets my questions. So, yeah, I don't know why. YouTube is really funny that way. It's been that way for a long, long time. Michael, hi from Berlin. Thanks for tuning in. Good to join in right after the workout. Glad to have you here. I remember when Champion was cheap and Starter was expensive. How times have changed. Yeah, my company that does apparel reached out to me like 2 weeks ago and said, we can do some Champion stuff for you. Like, okay. And then like the hoodie, the camo hoodie with the little logo and the thing on there. I had to price that at $79 just so I could make like $10 off it and be worth selling. I mean, I can't sell at cost. What's the point of doing all that? Because if somebody loses something, I ship something out immediately if it doesn't arrive. So a lot of the minimal profit I make just goes into, there's always 1 in 10 orders you got to reship or whatever. That's just the nature of shipping. I don't know who's getting all this crap, but in a split, do you generally group traps with shoulders or with back? That's a very good question. It can be either or. The problem with back, though, is it can be like if you do deadlifts, and you have to do deadlifts and all your back work, and sometimes you want to do rear delt work. You can do rear delt work with shoulders or back. You can do traps with shoulders or back. You can do biceps with shoulders or back. And the reason why I say that is because back work can be really intense as far as a workout, really time consuming. So you can do you can do traps, biceps, or rear delts with either, whatever makes sense for you. Is there any benefit in doing 3 sets? No. Always remember this should be exercise driven for you. Start at a reasonable place for yourself, so you can get in all the exercise you want. And if you're at the gym and you have time and you want to try one more set for an exercise, go right ahead. Right? This is what we call evolving training based on needs. Big Justin Jones. I'd really like to get some of your shirts, but I'm so picky with the fit. Well, I'm just going to tell you, man, you got to wear something. You can't be nude because we do not want to see you nude. But seriously, you're going to have that problem with anything online. Mine fit true, the size, so that you're not going to find anything wacky. Is there any way you could sell the print design only? I mean, I can give you a PDF, but I don't really want to. When I have to do that, Justin, the problem is, and I have to get a PDF, I have to do all these extra things. I just don't have time in my day to do that. I hope you understand. I've been cutting for 5 weeks, but got sick. Do you think a light workout would help to maintain? You can do whatever you want to maintain muscle because it's really easy to maintain muscle. But if you're still sick, I wouldn't go to the gym. I would not make your immune system worse. Don't worry. A week off of the gym, you're not going to lose muscle mass. You're absolutely fine. So just relax. Get yourself healthy. It really takes probably more than a month to start slowly losing mass, so you're fine. I've lost 4 to 5 kilos in 4 years without training. Don't know how normal that is, but weight variance is normal for anybody. Is it normal in this day and age for people to lose weight with over time? No, not really. Everybody's doing the same thing. I looked way better than before my first workout. I could well be. Going on a trip with my parents, no access to a gym. Going to eat low protein. Enjoy. I mean, you're not going to lose muscle mass. There's nothing urgent. No need to panic at all. A week, 10 days, 2 weeks off the gym is not going to do anything. You're not going to rapidly lose muscle mass. You need to just relax and enjoy. That's my best advice. Already got that one. 3 tips for someone's first national event. Number 1, hire a good coach that's experienced coaching at nationals. Well, I had to try, right? Number 1, some of the biggest thing, watch the warm-ups. Every meet is different, but I've had some of these geared lifters jump the monoliths just to tighten their squat suits when they were like 15 minutes out and somebody else is trying to warm up for their set right now. So just really watch the warm-ups. Sit down as much as you can. Standing all day long, you're going to burn more calories, you're going to burn more energy, you're going to sweat a little bit more. And standing all day, you're going to tend to put a lot of extra pressure on your lower back. Stay seated, stay relaxed. Just put your music in, listen to podcasts, stay relaxed, stay seated, and pay attention. That's the biggest tips I can get you. I'd love to see a video if you don't mind. You said you got those up to 3 plates. The seated BTN? Yeah, and let me see if I can find it real quick. I got a ton of old videos here on the channel. Occasionally, someone will ask, like, why don't you post lifting videos? I got so much. I literally have hundreds of lifting videos on this channel if you look through them. 315 close grip. Let's see. Let me see if I can find BTN. If I can't, I don't know that I got. Okay, I got this one. And let me just, it's muted. This is not 315, but it'll show you what I was doing. This is way back. Present, share screen. So this is an unlisted video. I uploaded so many videos over the years. I don't know what it's from. Let's just let it roll. Okay, so I did BTNs of 230 on this training day for 3, 3, 3, 2, 2, 2. So I did 6 sets. I don't know what protocol it was. Let's just take a looky-loo here and see what we got. Okay, you can see how I have the seat really close to the bar. I get the bar about ear level. And this is 230. Regular bar, 2 plates and a 2.5, whatever on there. So you can see I get my noggin right there and I lift up and I sit back. 1, 2. At the bottom, you look at where the elbows are in relation to the shoulders. I never let the bar personally go below my bottom of my ear. That's just where it feels natural for me. We have to take care of the shoulders. So 3, wait, and then I rock like that. Let's see how long I wait. That was 24 seconds. This might have been rest pause. Let's see, that was 24 seconds. 34. Okay. About 15 seconds of rest in between sets. So, yeah, this is rest pause. It says rest pause right here. I'm a dum-dum and missed that. So I did 230 by 333, 222 rest pause on this day. Hope that helps. At what point is someone advanced? When they have really locked down form, when they have a really gym legend strength and muscle, when they know how to program for themselves, when they have a track record of really consistent training and nutrition. People seem to be talking in terms I don't understand, length and partials. Yeah, I mean, you don't have to worry about any of this stuff, guys. Don't fall into the fear trap. You know, that we have to, there's some new magical rule. All we have to do is look at the last 70 years of training to realize we can see the commonalities between all of these lifters, and you just have to be reasonable with your training. You don't have to seek new fads or anything like that. It's definitely not necessary. Sorry for formulating my question a bit weird, but what I meant was, why do we do a rep goal of 32 when we have 3 sets of 10? Okay, you can use whatever rep goal you want. First off, the number is arbitrary. If you use a rep goal of 30 for 3 sets of 10, if you turn 3 sets of 10 into a rep goal, let's say you hit 12, 10, and 8, okay? That would be a rep goal of 30. You can do that. You can have whatever you want. I like to bump it up a little bit because because when you add weight, your reps dip, okay? So when you hit the rep goal of 30 and then add weight, let's say you hit 12, 10, and 8, you're going to dip down to like 10, 8, and 6. So you're going to be at like 24, 25. So you're constantly going to be bouncing back between 25 and 30. Does that make sense? So your rep average is actually going to be more closer to 3 by 9 mathematically. That's why we bump it up a little bit. Does that make sense? It's to be more true to the average. Just finished moving. Just wanted to say hi. Glad to have you here, man. I was just thinking about where soy sauce banana has been lately. You did not lose all your gains. That's good. And Vince said, push bow legs. Sorry, man. Yeah, Vince had originally posted PPI, PPL. I'm like, what's I? Right? Is that some kind of a new fangled thing, like lengthened partials? Jonathan, maybe a Team Massive jersey. I could do a baseball jersey. I have a baseball jersey right now, Massive Iron. I'd have to look for and if I can do anything, but here's the thing: a lot of guys will be like, "Hey, can I get this?" Somebody mentioned drawstring bag. Hey, can we get a drawstring bag? I made it. No one ever ordered it. That's the way it goes. And I'm not being hard or smart. I don't care. It only takes me a minute to make it, but if I made it, I don't know if anybody would actually buy it. Guys, we have 5 questions left. Last call. I'll be hopping off. So if you have a question, get it in now. If not, we'll be dropping off. I started bulkifying at the beginning of April. I went from 137 to 152. So we have May, June, July, August. So we have about 4 months. Not bad. I wouldn't say it's too aggressive based on your current weight. You're fine. I would probably bulk down. You don't want to overbulk. I don't know your height. I don't know your specifics. I'd probably get back down to 145 and then bulk to 155. But if you need me to do a body fat assessment, let me know. Big Jonathan. I think they say creatine could add 1 pound of extra muscle. It can add water weight into muscle, right? So if you stop taking it and you stop having that saturation, yeah, you're going to lose that. If bear mode is the goal with 20% and being muscular, 18%, you're going to have no moob fat, no real love handle fat, no real lower back fat, and no real belly fat. At about 18, give or take, right? We're generalizing. 20, you're going to have a little bit of belly fat, a little bit of belly fat, maybe a little bit of boob fat, a little bit. You have a little bit. But you're not going to have a humongous belly. You get in there, you start getting 25, 26, 28. When you get into belly land. Big Jonathan, when you get a client that is a binge eater, it's all individual, my man. It's all individual. I am not a psychologist, a food psychologist, but we do try to work on choices. What are you eating? Let's try to swap, right? I'm not here to cure their binge eating per se. I don't pretend to be a food psychologist. That's the problem with a lot of these influencers. Like, I teach lifting, therefore I'm a sleep psychologist and a food psychologist and a personal life. No, I tell you how to lift and eat. And if you don't do it, obviously we're going to have some give or take a little bit. But I'm not going to spend endless hours diving into the psychology of why you binge eat. I'll say, how has stress been? Is there anything you can mitigate stress with? Maybe if you're eating when you have downtime, maybe let's try to fill your time with something where you're not having downtime. We'll try to work on those things, but everything with every client is always completely individualized. What are your go-to foods if you're out about and cutting? So it depends on what you're doing out and about. Perky jerky. You guys familiar with this stuff? Perky jerky. I'm saying that in my best Wisconsin accent. Perky jerky. Check out Perky jerky. That is a lower calorie. It's really softer to eat. You can find it everywhere, pretty much. Perky jerky. And it really, really, really doesn't have a lot of calories. It's nice and soft. I don't want to save money. Where do we go? We're going to go back to perky jerky. All right. So things like perky jerky are good. Grapes, foods that you have to work at. Grapes are a good choice because you can put them in a cooler. They're going to last for a while. You have to work at them. You can't just eat 700 calories of grapes. You want to have foods that you have to work at a little bit. Lunch meat. Okay. If you can find a deal, and you can always find a deal at like Kroger or Walmart or whatever, a savings deal, because they're always doing this. You want to look for the low preservative stuff. Like, let me show you what we get. Like oven roasted turkey, oven roasted ham. Let me just pull this up a little bit. Sorry, I'm starting to get hungry. What is it, time for second meal? Let's see. So, like, I'll do things like the ham or the really low processed. So you get an instant protein, not a lot of calories. I hate to click on links on live. You never know what you're going to get. Yeah, 98% fat free. There's some cartoon guy holding like a giant turd or something. Sorry to be crude. It's just humor. So protein's like 9 grams for 50 calories, mostly protein. And where's serving size? 2 ounces. And scroll past the guy with the giant turd. How many ounces are in here? 9 ounces. So you can get that at like Kroger. So 4.5 servings, it's like 225 calories. And you're getting like 40 grams of protein. Yeah, you're getting a little bit of all this weird turkey broth, cornstarch, but there's not a lot in it. And I mean, if we're out on the road, we have to we're away from home, we have to bend a little bit. This is certainly better than pizza or like some junk. You can also go to a gas station if you're on the road and get like a Greek yogurt or cheese or something like that. So you have to be really smart how you plan your meals. If you're going to be out for a long day and you know you're going to be stopping for fast food, you need to have a plan, right? Like, have a plan. You can find stuff online. You can guesstimate these days. Nearly everything has a calorie amount somewhere. So, like, tomorrow morning, my wife likes the Wendy's breakfast sandwiches. Okay, we're going to do it. But know your calories going in, right? Know where you're going to be calorie-wise going in. If you want to go to McWhopper, if you want to go to Burger King, check the menu. McDonald's, I want to go to McDonald's. We're going to stop at McDonald's. My husband wants to stop at McDonald's. McDouble, 380 calories, 23 grams of protein. You can always find something reasonable. That's the thing. And I want to stress this to you guys because it's so very important. And I love each and every one of you, but this is tough love time. If you go to McDonald's or you go to Burger King or you go to Taco Hell or wherever you go to, and you overeat, you don't check the calories, it's not an excuse to load up the bag with crap, guys. I'm not saying this to Fat Chick in the Barn. I'm saying this in general. To all of us, to me, to you, all of us. Just because you go somewhere, that's not an excuse not to check the calories. Just because you go somewhere, that doesn't give you permission to get the fries and the Coke drink and the super juper jumbo humbo thing, right? Oh, we're going to McDonald's. I just quit. That's the thing. I quit. Fight, folks. Process, analyze. Don't just quit. If I have a friend that I'm spending the day with, like I was in Denver with my buddy, and we were finding new places to eat, I look for the best choices on the menu. I don't quit. I just don't throw my hands in the air and give in and get all the stuff and the humongous stuff and the fried and the deep fried stuff and all the things, right? That's because I wasn't eating at home. No, you're using that as an excuse, right? You, not you, Fat Chick in the Barn, you, us, me, you, everyone, are intelligent adults. Just because they have all the stuff, the sea of the stuff, the triple humongous burger with extra bacon and avocado and egg, and would you like yeah, I'd like a super size. Would you like a dessert? Yeah, I'd like a dessert. And maybe I'll just get a fat Coke. And maybe I'll eat 3,000 calories for one meal. And I'll blame it on the fact that I went to McWhopperland, right? No. The biggest thing where people stumble when on the weekends or when they're out is that they allow their excuses to win. Oh, I'm not eating at home. I don't have control. I'm going to eat like a spoiled little pig. My husband wants to go to Taco Bell. My wife wants to go to Chipotle. I quit. I'm going to eat all the food, right? And I say this respectfully because I care. This is something I deal with myself, right? When I say this stuff on social media, I'm not saying this at you guys. This stuff I tell myself. I used to be the guy that when I went out to the pizza place, I get the thick crust and the large. What's the largest size? What's the most I can get? What's the most toppings I can get for my Pavo budget? Can I get garlic bread? Free garlic bread? I want free garlic bread. Can I get cheesy bread? I want the free cheesy bread. Give me all the cheesy bread. I'm at the soda machine, and it's once a month, so I'm going to get the 48-ounce Mountain Dew. Oh, my God, they have cactus bread. They have the dessert cactus bread. I'm going out to Chinese food. They have a buffet. Oh, let's just eat everything. It's a buffet. What can you do? That's how Fat Steve used to eat, right? I was eating like a child, like a spoiled child, eating on whims, no self-control, right? That's how we have to take these things seriously. Life is always going to have things like this. Every convenience store you go into has a better choice, especially in this day and age. You can find deli meat in there. You can find Greek yogurts in there. You can find fruit in nearly every gas station. You can find it. It's everywhere. It might not be the best thing. Every restaurant has a smarter choice. Me and my wife, I do that every week when we're out. every week. Last weekend, my wife wanted to do some stuff and do the shopping stuff and the thing. And I'm like, yeah. Because I try to be the best husband I can be. So we went out to Mongolian. Okay. Mongolian, you get to put all the meat and make your own stuff and the mushrooms and the things and all the stuff. And you get to control the sauces and you get a lot of food. And they give you a bowl of rice the size of my big old watermelon head. I don't eat all the rice. I like two little things, right? Not that rice is bad, but I moderate. We can moderate. You have to have a moderation mentality. You can't quit on yourself. Every time you quit, you regret it. Every time you give in, you regret it. Because there's a competing goal. The competing goal is, I want to get leaner. I want to feel better. I don't want osteoarthritis. I don't want increased cancer risk. I can still eat a lot of wonderful things that taste amazing. Right? I don't eat plain ass food. Last week we went to the Mongolian restaurant and I put the beef in and I put the chicken in and I put the stuff in the pork and a big huge thing of jalapenos and some veggies, some tomatoes and some green pepper and just a lot of dry seasoning, salt for spice and a little bit of sauce. Tastes amazing. I don't deprive myself, right? My wife will want to go to Wendy's tomorrow and get a breakfast sandwich. If I go, I'll get one too. It's 400 calories. I just don't get the breakfast and the taters and the things and all the caffeine drink for 482 calories. So there's give and take. There's pushback. But there is no excuse to give in and eat and overeat. That's a choice. We do not throw our hands in the air everywhere we go. Like, oh, we're here. Oh, we're here. You have to fight back. There has to be rules of engagement. You think I don't eat pizza? Fat me used to order the biggest pizza to be delivered with the thick crust and all the 800 dipping sauce. You get like 18 tubs of dipping cheese sauce. The thinking about it right now gets me excited because Fat Steve will always be there. But now I get the small and the thin. Damage control, minimize. Because I don't need an extra large pizza. This is something advice I've given out in the past, and it's very pertinent. If you eat to the point where you couldn't have quality adult relationship, meaning interaction with your partner, where you're so bloated and stuffed and rotten, that's a bad place to be. Anyway, you got to be proactive. Go in there and be a sniper. Find foods. Continue to refine. Look for things. Look in the freezer, the cooler. Look for the Greek yogurts and the grapes and the strawberries and the lunch meat. Anything that's a little bit better choice. They might not have perfect choices, but always look for the better choice. Is a legs, torso, arms, repeats too much? No, it's not too much as long as you're recovering. It's absolutely fine. Whatever you do, understand it's okay to have a starting point. You'll always have to make adjustments, and the devil is really in the detail of the adjustments. Big Thunder. Any exercise suggestions for core? Try to do the wood chop. You can do the cable wood chopper, the medicine ball wood chopper. That's kind of good. A good start for the obliques, like that rotational. Core, you can do cable crunches. You can do shoulder tap planks. You're in the plank position and you do this. Ab wheel rollouts is a really good starting point. Thank you, Jonathan. I appreciate it. And Fat Chicken and Barn Perky, I thought you were being funny. No. True thing. Can you progress? Yeah, we answered that. You certainly can. Don't fall into the lies. How does one find out what they want to do with their life? You wake up today and you do what you like to do. And you wake up tomorrow and you do what you like to do. And you wake up the next day and you do what you like to do. And if it wasn't the same thing you didn't like doing yesterday, you still do it, and that's okay. You give yourself the freedom to be in process. And in the meantime, you got to do some stuff. You might not be your permanent career, but it brings in money so you can eat all the food and lift all the weights. And then in the process of doing the stuff you love, try to find a way to make a career of doing the stuff you love. What body fat percentage should I be at in the bulk? Yeah, 15% is fine. I mean, the only thing you really don't want to do is bulk over like 230 because then you're getting in the really fat zone. So where you're at really is highly specific. All right, guys, amazing questions today. I appreciate each and every one of you. Love each and every one of you. I'm here every week. I'm always here to help. So please consider joining my team, teammassiveiron.com. Hit me up on Instagram at Ben the Barman. I'd love to follow you. And if you ever have any questions, my doors are always open. I answer every question for free. Thank you, guys. Come back, please, next Friday, and we are out of here.
It's not almost over. It's not almost over. You're not almost there. You're not almost there. You're not almost there.